And then finally, you've got tons of different options. I'm not going to go through them all, but on app event, like I said, if you just scroll through here, you can just see how many integrations there are. And so that kind of stuff is awesome, right? Like with a RAG pipeline, maybe you would want to do Dropbox or Google Drive, and you can have specific folders can be watching for new files. You can have you can be watching a specific file for changes, that kind of stuff, and then you could have it automatically be pushed into a database, a SQL database, vector database. Um, Obviously you've got stuff like Slack, like Teams, PayPal, QuickBooks. So the possibilities are endless. And then even if there's not something in here that's a trigger that you're looking for, you could probably configure a webhook based on the documentation for a specific company or specific service. So let's say we wanted to get to like something like Tavily. I don't believe that they have a node in here, and I guess this wouldn't really be a trigger, but the concept is going to be the same, right? So you'd search for the place you want to get to in their API documentation. And then pretty much you're going to have a REST API, which you're able to look at. Obviously we talked about post and get, but it's going to give you the endpoints pretty much to access. So right here we have the base URL, and then you're going to put different parameters at the end of that base URL, based on the information you're looking for. And so they're going to show you different examples. They're going to show you the way you need to configure usually your headers, and your API key will go in there somewhere, and you'll send over a body request, or you'll be looking for a specific body request. But obviously you've got stuff like that where if you were looking for some integrations that don't have end-to-end integrations. But then another one you probably see me use a lot is something like Telegram, where on message received, if we're looking for a test event here, and I said hello, or I said Jello, you can see that's what came through because it triggered. It was watching for my Telegram channel. And then we would take this information like chat ID to put into a response, so that then it could say, I'm just going to set this as response, and we're just going to say, hello, I cannot type today at all. Hello. And then we would just do another Telegram, which would be a send a text message right here. And so we need this chat ID. So what we'd want to do is we test this step, and now it's like the data's moved all the way to this node, and then we can see the schema right over here. So if we go to schema, we can look at the Telegram trigger, and looking at the Telegram trigger, we can see the chat ID that we need, which is right here. We'll drag that in, and then we can send the actual text, which is going to be the response that we just set. And maybe this would be a OpenAI would be looking at the message coming in and then crafting a message to send back. But that's pretty much how it would work. If I hit test step on there, we'd see that it comes through in our Telegram. It says hello. But just keep in mind that we switched this from fixed to expression when we dragged in these variables. Anything in these two curly braces that's green is going to be a variable, because obviously what's in here is a Telegram trigger. We're referencing the sorry, I'm pointing at my screen with my fingers if you guys can see. We're looking at the item.json, .message, .chat, .id. So that's how we got here down to this ID, but it's actually coming through as 805, 805 as you can see. And the same thing with the JSON response. If we're referencing a node like here, we can see it's in quotes. But if we do just $JSON, that just means it's referencing the very most previous node, which in this case was this edit fields where we set it to response equals hello, as you can see here. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for now for the trigger section of this sort of classroom. Didn't want to have to spend too much time here, but it's important to understand how much flexibility you have with triggers, and that once you understand triggers, you can make things more modular. As like one agent is going to update this database, and then another agent is going to be watching that database for a trigger, grab that trigger, send it over to an email agent, and then the email agent maybe look for all the emails that it's sent on a different side of the database, and then it will take that and then update a different CRM. So you can piece things together like that rather than having one massive workflow. So that's going to be it.